So guys, we've got Preeti and her very handsome brother Subhas, and the beautiful child behind is her
the younger sibling of the house, Maxie, the mongrel.
Rexy. He's gorgeous. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're good.
How are you?
I'm good. Has life changed at all post CB, or is it exactly the same for you guys?
I think for me it's pretty much the same, and I also am kind of confused with exactly what I can or cannot do. So I'm just gonna stick to what I've already been doing, which is staying at home.
Yeah, same here. Work really continues, and I think it's about. I think we are very lucky to have a good internet, and be with family in a nice, in a safe place. So I think a lot of the work also is about thinking about a lot of people who don't have these things. And seeing.
Right. Fantastic. Now you guys have a fantastic online relationship, like really close brother and sister. Does that happen offline as well, or it's all just for the camera?
Okay, it's definitely not for the camera, but I think if anything for the camera, I probably tone down how mean I am to him. So
Oh really?
It's already toned down, and it's like that, huh?
no lah, but I think it's it's the silly small things lah that we always argue about at home. But other than that, I think we work pretty well together, so I think our working relationship has been pretty smooth, and it's been very fun to work with someone who obviously gets you and kind of
Right.
will always have your best intentions in heart also. So it's been very easy to work with my brother lah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Has it always been like this? The two of you working together, or who started it first?
Oh, that's interesting. So it hasn't always been like this. Like growing up, we fought a lot more over very, very petty stuff, and we'd always be bickering, or wouldn't talk to her, she wouldn't talk to me,
Always.
Right.
But I think pretty first, okay, so I'm always late to the game.
Okay.
I'm quite. So Preeti was on all the social media platforms. She was doing everything first, and I did music first, but Preeti was pretty pleased before I even started doing music.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you guys decide, you know what, you want to, get online? I mean, I started to see both of you interact, of course, with that whole brown face situation, which I thought was incredibly powerful, what you guys did, and so good for Singapore society to see, siblings coming together to push for a bigger and wider cause. But what was the very first video that you guys did together?
Oh wow. Oh, I mean it was probably for sure it was a Pretty Please video that he acted in, but the one that I can think of is the CNA Insider parody. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure we did many videos together. But for that parody, we did, because you know how CNA Insider has a show where they made a Indian lady live in a Chinese house for a couple of days, and then they kind of documented her experience. So we did a parody where we had one of my Chinese friends, his name is Jake. We had Jake come live in our house for a while, and my family just played my family members. So my brother was acting as my older brother, my mom was in the video, and Jake was acting as the guy who didn't want to be a part of this social experiment but had to go through it. So it was a lot of fun. I think that was probably one of the first few videos that I did also.
But to be honest, every single song or video that I do, every single piece of content that Preeti does, it's all so collaborative. So I mean, from even just the ideas to
the brainstorming of
everything is together. So it's it goes without saying, everything I put out goes without saying that Preeti was a part of this process.
Yeah.
Right. How would you describe each other in 3 words? I mean, Subhas, if you had to describe Preeti in 3 words, what would you say?
3 words, huh? I'm not gonna 3 words. Okay.
No vulgarity.
Okay, no.
No vulgarity.
Thanks for saying that.
I'm gonna hyphenate the first word. Hardworking.
Wow.
Hardworking. And honest. I think Preeti is very honest, and she just with her friends, but also in expectations about things, and I really respect that. And boss. So she's a boss as B. Preeti is a boss.
Wow, that should have been 3 words.
Yeah, boss. Yeah, she's a boss. She's a boss. Like she's great at what she does. She has a vision about things. I respect that so much.
Fantastic. And Preeti, reverse.
I think for me, I have to say funny, because everyone just looks at both of us and would think that Preeti's the funnier one, or I'm the funny one out of two of us. But I genuinely think we're both funny, and he's also very funny. Growing up, like, we were laughing at the dumbest things. We have so many silly inside jokes, and yeah, I think he's super funny. But I don't think people see that online. So, but people probably see that on my Instagram more than his. And I guess another thing I have to say is selfless for sure, because I think quite a lot of the work that he does, he works on the side. It's always something for the betterment of something else or someone else, and it's never a project on like, okay, what can I do for myself here? It's never like that. And I think the last word would probably be passionate. I think he's very driven, very passionate. Like, he didn't even go to school for music. Like, he graduated majoring in urban studies, and he was like, okay, I want to do music. I want to say so much with the music. And then he started like learning everything from scratch and figuring out how what goes behind the scenes in writing a song, and working with so many different producers and stuff like that. And pretty much self-taught lah. So I think that's really impressive, because I mean, even though we're in the same industry, I didn't have any music experience and I had no way to help him. So he figured out all that on his own. So that was really cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
I know, right?
Wow. There's mutual love. So much mutual love. Fantastic. Do you think you can actually carve a successful career in music in Singapore? Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible, but I guess with any industry that you step in, it's always like what's something different you're bringing to the table. I guess that's a very important question, especially in the music industry, because it's pretty small. And I think when we say music industry, we all think of like the same few names, the same few people, and there's nothing wrong with that, because we are a really small country. But I guess when you're like starting out in an industry like that, it's always there's a lot of pressure to like, what can I do differently, or how can I not sound the same here? And I think it's just you definitely can make it in this industry if you figure out like a niche, or like what you're good at, and like something like, maybe even if it's like the topic, or like what you want to address with your songs, or like what's something that no one else is saying about, you know. I guess you can if you do that.
Right. And I also think it's how you value success. Like, what rubrics do you use to measure that success? Like, for me, that is always, because I mean, we live in a place where so often, like, you know, can you make money from something, or can you like can you be on this stage or that stage? You know, I think it's all a process. Like, what is the window of time, right? Someone's career in the music scene, like, if you're lucky, it's going to be like 3, 4, 5 years. Like, most people don't last that long. So I think if we keep that process of like determining our own success on our own like kind of measurements and on our own terms, then I think that it doesn't really matter. Like, making it becomes like almost like a personal journey. And I think that's the worst. If we all can just really just be the best versions of ourselves, the whole scene is transformed. Right.
Interesting. Now, you know, as I said, you know, I got to know about the two of you with the brown face incident, and I think it's incredible that you've really spoken out about a topic, you know, to do with racism. Did you face a lot of that in school or at your workplace? It's, you know, and this question goes to both of you.
I think I definitely faced it a lot in secondary school, but I feel like for the average Singaporean kid, that's probably the first time you're exposed to like a racist joke or like hearing a racial slur. So I think it's quite normal for a lot of like people to experience something racist in secondary school. And for me, the bulk of it was in secondary school. So after that, like, I also became that person who would always like, if I knew someone was going to bully me for my race or like how I looked or something like that, I would try to one up the person by making the joke first. So I became that person who was very self-deprecating, and that was kind of like my defense mechanism, which I guess also is probably why like I do comedy. It's probably why I laugh at myself more than anyone else. And yeah, after that, like in poly and stuff, like I think like that was when, you know, I could have a conversation with someone if I was uncomfortable or something. I was okay to actually say, I'm not okay with this, you know, and address something on the spot instead of like letting someone perpetuate a stereotype for way too long and then feeling bad about it years later. So in poly was probably when I started addressing these things.
Yeah. And I mean,
and Subhas?
Like, for me, it was I always was most impacted more by the systemic levels of how like deeply like racist certain like institutions or policies or like rites of passage were in this country. So for me, yeah, of course, like that the everyday racism, like if you're a brown person in this country, like you see them, you know, whether it's like a microaggression or whether it's something just completely overt and in your face, you know, like what we're seeing in the news these days. But I definitely have noticed it more on a systems level, and I'm also like more focused on doing that because I think that kind of work really has legacy that we because I mean all of us in this generation, we have to do work that heals in our own personal journeys, but also together. Like I think that we have to leave certain things behind and we have to move forward like together as a society and having these conversations, and we have to figure this out ourselves because I think a lot of people think that Preeti and I got the answers to how to solve this, and the answer is we don't know. We are figuring this out, and unfortunately, like this is the state of how things are. Unfortunately, most brown people you speak to in Singapore are gonna have those very sad, hurtful experiences of racism, you know, and but yeah, so I think it's all pervasive, like from the name callings to the this and that. But I see them most glaringly when they are kind of like supported by deeper systems and structures.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. And then, you know, of course, you guys have done an incredible thing to raise funds for the migrant workers. Now, how did that whole initiative come about? And you know, it's so. I mean, I just raised my hat for what you guys have done for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I think for us, like before the circuit breaker, we were working from home already, like kind of, and I had like my intern Wisan was at my house, and my brother's really good friend Whaley was here as well. So I remember the four of us were receiving like updates on our, you know, the gov.sg updates, which they were the not just the number of cases, but I think at that point in time there was a new cluster. The first cluster was just formed at one of the dorms. So that's when we received the message, and we were all together in the house just talking about it, and that's when we started reading it and kind of actually picking out a lot of the information we received and asking each other like, what does this actually mean? You know, when they say things like the migrant workers will be using their paid leave days and stuff like that, and we were like, okay, what happens when those paid leave days run out? And we were kind of asking the questions that weren't addressed in their message, and we just started like asking each other, and my brother knew quite a lot of people who work with migrant workers directly in NGOs as well as migrant workers themselves because of other projects that he's worked on, and when like because he has direct contact with those people, he's also heard what's happening on ground, and he's heard their experience and how they were left pretty like clueless in the moment, and they weren't really like sure what's going to happen. They weren't really told information on the spot. So that's when we started help, like kind of putting it ourselves to like ask these questions and use the platform that we have to raise the questions to like like with the platforms that we have to other people start thinking and talking about these things. And that's essentially how the ideation of let's make a video about this, let's try and raise funds, let's try and help the one of the most vulnerable communities in Singapore right now that I don't think a lot of people are talking about.
Yeah, and it's with a team too. Like, so we have a small team called Utopia, and Preeti's actually in a web series called. She's in a web series. She's hosting a web series called Miseducation. So like, it's really, I think it's really important. I guess the message to the people watching would also to be like, if you have an idea, if you have questions, come together, like build something and come together towards finding better ways of asking those questions and creating things that can invite people into a conversation. So Miseducation really was because so many people hear the word dormitories or dorms, but like, you know, what does that actually mean? I think we don't have enough I guess interventions in like the social media space in doing that kind of work to debunk, to educate, but also to have a conversation. Yeah, so the fundraiser is just like it's with the Utopia team that is also behind the Miseducation.
And you actually set a target of 100,000. Now, was that some like magic figure you sort of plucked up from the sky, or you thought, you know, yes, I'm capable of doing this?
Yeah, I thought it was super ambitious. Like when he said the number, I literally like looked at him and scoffed, and I was like, there's no way we can raise 100K, let's be realistic. And then eventually, like I was like, you know, at the end of the day, it's not about meeting a goal here. It's just about helping people as much as we possibly can. So if the
Right.
goal seemed ambitious, then that's okay. Let's just leave it at 100K. If it hits, it hits. If it doesn't hit, that's still money, a lot of money that's going to go to a lot of people who need it. And I think we weren't too like fixated on whether like we should up that amount or lower that amount. We were just like, okay, if we can do it, we can do it. If we can't, we still helped as much as we possibly could lah. Yeah.
I was shocked.
Right.
Yeah, same.
Like I know I said 100,000 because initially I think everybody was like, okay, let's set a 10K or something, and I was like,
Right.
do we actually know? You know how many migrant workers are living in dorms? Well, it's not like a few hundred or thousands. We're talking about like tens of thousands of migrant workers who are affected, and so I was shocked that we hit 100K. Like that, I've never seen that kind of like support that just poured in so quickly. Also in 24 hours.
Yeah, in 12
Yeah,
hours.
I mean,
Wow, it was insane. Yeah.
24 hours. Wow.
It restored my faith in our community and our society. Actually, to be real with you.
Right. And was it mostly Singaporeans who were donating to this, or were there also people from abroad who came in to donate?
I
Mostly
think
Singaporeans?
it seemed like it was a lot of Singaporeans because I mean, we could see like the people leaving the messages as they left their donations to the fundraiser, and I think it seemed like it was quite a lot of Singaporeans because they were talking about like the government payouts as well. They were saying like, you know, I encourage you guys to also put in your $600 that you get from the government. So it seemed like it was quite a lot of Singaporeans in the comments, and there were also a lot of anonymous donors, like people who just helped wherever they could, and even a lot of students who said like, I really cannot afford much, but I hope. But I just want to do my part to help, and it was like a way smaller donation, but it was really the thought that counts. You know, they left a message there, which I think would have inspired a lot of other like younger people to see this and be like, you know what, let me try and do what I can. So I thought it was really, really good. Yeah.
Now, asking you the flip side of all this activism that both of you are involved with, how do you take, or what sort of backlash have you faced? Have you both faced?
I think. Like, I don't think for the activism, I mean, I think because of the brown face video, everything we do or say will always be met with like people talking about that video, or like, you know, only talking about the fact like, okay, but you guys made that video before. Why should we listen to you now talk about race? Or like, what do you know? You're a racist, you know, stuff like that. So I still definitely get comments like that with every video I make that's addressing any other social issue or social cause out there. But I mean, I guess for me, it's just about focusing on my intentions here and why I'm making this video. If I'm gonna be like worried about a hate comment, then I shouldn't even be on the internet, you know. So it comes with the job. So I'm not too pressed about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The work speaks for itself. It has to.
Right.
And I think the starting point here is not to, like, it's crazy. That's crazy that like people know about like my work, or like, you know, it's still very surreal. I don't know about Preeti, but like it's still surreal when people come out to us and like, oh wow, your work is a voice for this and that. I'm like, wow, I cannot. That's so important, and it's so like surreal to be there. So I think that the objective here is not to be like famous or whatever. Those things, like, if it helps the work, if it allows the work to be received by many more people, then yes. But the work speaks for itself. Ultimately, it's really about not just saying things, but also like putting legs behind that and like doing things and being there and figuring out what solidarity means and building community resilience means, and it's more than just maybe like what people may see on social media.
Yeah.
That's really incredible. And you know, Preeti, you did this video that was very tough topic, you know, on BLM. I think that was again a very, very touchy, and you know, it was a big topic to handle. Why did you think that it's important to address BLM in Singapore?
I think for me, like when I was reading the news and seeing everything happening, like obviously I'm pretty sure for many of us, it just made me feel so mad. And I was just like, this is so crazy. Like what's happening on the other side of the globe is insane. And I don't know how else to use my platform and my voice other than to talk about how we can possibly look inward and reflect and on like what goes on right here in Singapore, and see how we can change to never fall into like a system that fails people like that, you know? So I think for me, it was a lot of like reflection and looking inward into like the place that I come from, the place that I live at. So I think it was a very tough time for a lot of us because we were just reading the news and we were all just so like how do we even react? What do we even say? There's no right words to say, or there's no proper way to react here. But I just thought to myself about how I talk about race so often, and I make like silly skits, you know, from the most ridiculous stereotypical skits to like actually making a video like the brown face rap video. And also like for this video addressing Black Lives Matter, I was like, there's so many different approaches that I've tried and I've used to talk about race. But I think it's just a matter of constantly trying and learning how to navigate this space and the platform that I have. So I've tried all these different approaches, and of course, like, I think with the Black Lives Matter video, I think there was a very effective video because of like the engagement in the comments, and people actually used it as a space to discuss. And someone even said like, that's the beauty of discourse. You know, we can be on the same side, but we don't have to have the exact same opinion on something. And that's essentially why I did the video, because we got like so many people, so many of our followers just like talking about something that they probably did not know where to begin talking about. And yeah, I just thought it was an important move, and I thought I needed to do it on my platform. Yeah.
And also because
okay, sorry, Subhas, go ahead.
No, sorry, and also because so much of our work is influenced by Black culture.
Yeah, for sure.
Like so many, like I can tell you that like even like when like my dad, when our dad was out of the picture for so many years in our life, like so much of masculinity, so much of learning about like life and like, was through hip hop. So like that's the reason why. So we are like guests in hip hop when we make music. Like we are.
And I think another thing that has come up quite strongly during this crazy circuit breaker period was a lot of Singaporeans. I want to know your view about how these Singaporeans have been acting and doing their own causes, you know, like this crazy sovereign thing, and you know, people setting up, you know, hashtags that cuisine was not my cuisine. And I want to know, you know, what are your thoughts about that? Do you think circuit breaker has just made everyone go a bit crazy?
I mean, I think yes, for sure. I think people have way too much time on their hands now. So I think now is the time, it's like the peak period where you're going to see so many trolls online, or so many people arguing about essentially nothing online, or making very problematic like Instagram live videos, like that kid recently with his mom that got getting investigated. Yeah, so I think like people just have way too much time on their hands now, for sure. But I mean, a lot of things like I don't know, it's been quite entertaining also trying to navigate this social media space.
But people have always been like that. It's just that now they have time to record themselves. People are always like that.
That's true.
But also, I guess we'll be remiss if we don't say that there have been now so many people who have also taken this time to put towards causes that are so important. And I think it's interesting because, look, we all have this much time, and so many of us are working from home and still getting our work done. So we really got to think about like, how does work look like post this lockdown?
Yeah.
Like, you know, do we need to be in offices every day? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this time can be also productively used to engage in so many other types of work, do the work in other senses of the term, you know? So, yeah, it's all like things that are useful to observe and think about.
Yeah.
So, you know, Preeti, this question's for you. You know, you talk about Pretty Please is your online persona, and how you've actually used it to love yourself more over the years. How different is it from Preeti Nair?
I think I'm glad my brother's here for this one, because he has a lot to say about Preeti Nair. But I think for me, like, I always say Pretty Please is an exaggeration of Preeti Nair. It's essentially the same things that I think about and talk about, but Pretty Please helps me get my point across in a very exaggerated, delusional, ridiculous way. And I know that sometimes you can get away with a lot with the character. And essentially, like, my tagline, being Pretty Please, is always Singapore's top whatever I'm talking about. So Singapore's top, even after getting the conditional warning, Singapore's top conditional warning receiver. And I think it's the fact that it's a silly, funny, over the top character that lets me kind of say all these silly things, give myself all these ridiculous titles that people know immediately it's satire. They're not gonna take me seriously. I mean, they will take me seriously at the end of the video, but while they're watching it, they know to like take everything with a little bit of a pinch of salt. And this is not exactly who I am. This is an exaggeration to show you, to kind of draw like ridiculous comparisons to what's actually happening in the real world also. So I think I have a lot of fun with the character, and I definitely stand like Preeti Nair has the same exact like stands on all these topics, all these issues that I talk about as Pretty Please, but I just think it's so exaggerated, over the top with the character. Yeah.
Okay. And Subhas, is it the same thing for you? Is this a different persona that you put on for camera, and then when you're off camera, you're a completely different person?
Not really. That's the reason why my rap name. That's why my rap name is Subhash, because it is just like it's really just real. I think it's just really me. But it's interesting what Preeti said, because the three things that I used to describe her, the three characteristics was hardworking, being a
Yes.
boss, and what was
Yes.
the third one? Hardworking, being a boss, and honest.
Oh,
And I think
Yeah.
that's what the Pretty Please character also is.
yeah.
Like from
that's
the
true.
frequency of the content, it's the hardworking, the honesty, and the sincerity of how Pretty can break it down, and just a boss. Like Pretty Please is a boss ass character. Like so you can see that the there's so much. I think it's very true. It's an exaggeration of who she is, and it's so cool because Pretty won't tell you this, but she grew like growing up, and even now she's like pretty much an introvert. She doesn't really like. She's not a social butterfly. She's like, yeah, she values and like guards her space. So yeah, it's very real, like who she is.
That's great. And I love the fact that you've incorporated your mom into your videos as well. I mean, was that just by accident, or she's super comfortable, or how did it all happen? And how did that relationship
Yeah.
start?
I think like I never actually planned to like, okay, when do I start introducing my mom in the videos. I think it just happened one day. I wrote something and I thought it would be funny if my mom yells out at me, to ask me to like do my work, or ask me to stop making stupid videos, because that's like what we all joke about when we have a career, like doing something that I do. So we always joke about how it's not a real job and stuff like that. So I think at the beginning, I just got my mom to like yell out something at me or say a one-liner and walk away. But then after that, I started incorporating my mom in the videos more by like actually asking her to be a part of a skit and stuff like that. So
Right.
she's definitely not like automatically like 100% comfortable in front of a camera, but she's 100% supportive. So she is very supportive of everything we do. And if I'm gonna tell her something to say in a video, I'll give her as much context as I possibly can, and
Right.
like help her understand it, because obviously she's not on social media, so I'll help her understand it as much as possible. And then we will always tell her to say it in her own way, because giving my mom a script is like it's like the worst thing we can do, because the best part of it is when she says it the exact way our mom would say it. Yeah, so we always try and tell her what we're going for, and then eventually we will be like, okay, mom, say whatever you want now, and then that will be the best thing. So she's very, very sporting.
Mom's great.
Fantastic.
She also helps us so much behind the scenes.
Yeah,
That's
Behind the
great,
scenes.
of course, because
Oh.
when you film together and now you're all on lockdown, I'm sure mom is with the camera as well, right?
actually she did help me press record. I set everything on a tripod, and then one day I was like, mom, sorry, she was in the kitchen trying to arrange something, and I had to disturb her and be like, mom, sorry, can you just help me press that red button? I remember that so clearly. So yeah, you're right.
Now, you went from being bullied in school to being this champion for body positivity. How did that transition happen? And, what can you talk about it from your standpoint?
I mean, I really think that I'm a champion for body positivity because I was bullied. I really think like because of all the experiences I had to go through, like right now in hindsight, I'm as weird as it's gonna sound, I'm also pretty grateful for all the bad experiences I had growing up, because it made me who I am today. And it made me as strong as I am today. And if someone's going to say anything similar to what I've already been through, it's not going to hurt me. It's not going to tear me down. So, I mean, it was easy for me to like champion something in body positivity, because my entire brand has always, you do you. If you're not
Right.
going to step on someone's toes, if you're not going to have to put other people down to make your point or say something, then sure, go ahead, do what you do. You can have your own opinion. It can be an unpopular one, but just know the platform you have, know the impact of the words that you say publicly on a platform, and do what you think is right. So I think I've always championed you do you. And of course, when it comes to something like body positivity, it's, if you're happy with how you look, why should someone else not let you be happy? Why should someone else tell you that this is not okay? And it's different when it comes to, I guess when it comes to body positivity, a lot of people talk about, oh, but it's unhealthy, it's not good for your own health, and why are we championing someone that's unhealthy? And I think at the end of the day, it's a matter, if it's you do you, it's it's up to you to decide whether you're happy with how you look and the lifestyle that you lead. And if you are actually unhappy with the lifestyle you lead, and if you feel like you're unhealthy and you need to fix something about yourself, then that's on you to do it. And if you need support, there's obviously going to be people around you that hopefully like family members or loved ones that can be there and help you throughout whatever journey you want to go through. But I think it's up to you to make that call. So I think that it's a difference from hearing it from a doctor telling you that, hey, maybe you need to do this, or a stranger online coming to you whose intentions is obviously to condescend, and be malicious here and just tear you down and hurt you. And their intentions is not to come here and give you personal training sessions and be like, hey, you know what, let me help you if you want to lose weight. That's not the intention here. It's just, if I don't think you look the way I want you to look, I'm just going to be mean to you. And I think that's where I think it's very different. It's the approach. It boils down to your intention and why you're saying what you say. Yeah.
And when girls write into you, when they talk about the issues that they're facing with, about their size or their shape or things like that they're going through, how do you advise them to get past it or to grow from it?
I think it's always it's never easy to just tell someone to, just try and love yourself, because it's a whole journey and a whole process to try and love yourself or learn how to. And even for myself, like, as much as it looks like, I love myself a lot and nobody can hurt me because of how I look and stuff like that, I think I'm still learning how to love myself. And I would probably just advise someone out there to really not take someone else's word for it, and really not let someone else's opinions that is really, really very invalid most times to hurt you and make you feel any less of a person or any less of a beautiful person in this sense. So I really think if it's especially if it's someone in secondary school, someone much younger, I think it's a matter of focusing on yourself and what you really think about yourself, and trying to figure that out, and surround yourself with the people who love you for everything that you do, and appreciate you for who you are, and not focus on that one negative comment or that one bully in the classroom. Because I find the best way to deal with a lot of negativity on social media is to always focus on the positives. And it's been very tough and tricky, but that's really the best way to deal with it. Like, every time I look at a video and I look at the comment section, as much as I can talk about that one person who will leave a racist comment and say oh, who are you to talk about race, say something like that, I will also notice the 5 or 10 other comments saying, thank you for this is exactly what I needed to hear. I'm going through a rough time, a rough patch right now, and I just watch your videos to keep myself happy. And I think I've started to look at that and think about all those comments instead. So yeah, I've just been focusing on the positives a lot, and for me that has been a really good life hack. So that's probably what I would tell someone to do. Yeah.
And do you think there are celebrities out there that have helped promote body positivity? I mean, people like Lizzo, her size and shape and figure in such a positive way. Are there other women that you have noticed that you look up to and perhaps have steered your journey there as well?
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at icons from America, like the Western media, I really think Mindy Kaling, I love everything she does. I love the show, the Mindy Project is amazing. And I could relate to so much that she said on the show, and her fashion sense on the show was also not something you normally see, for someone who works at a clinic for a character. He was always dressed in the brightest colors, the most the loudest prints and stuff like that. And I thought it was really nice to see someone who doesn't fit the typical size or the size, the size zeros. She was obviously plus size, and she dressed however she wanted, and I really like that a lot. And I think another style icon and somebody I look up to in terms of fashion sense and what they champion with the platform is also Lily Singh. So she dresses in the best power suits, in also the brightest turquoise ever. She would be always in without that she has her own talk show, she will always be in the best power suits ever. And I really think that's amazing. She made me want to wear a suit, and after I had my first ever suit made, I was like, man, I feel like Lily Singh. I love this. It makes you so legit to wear a suit. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Now, I heard your fashion sense of style has translated to being an advisor for the man beside you as well. Someone told me that.
So basically, right, my brother is that person who would be like, for every year, his birthday presents would probably be like gift cards or
Okay.
we would basically, everyone around him knows that he whines about how he doesn't have enough clothes, and he wears the same things in rotation. They look good, but it's the same things in rotation, which is fine. But he whines about it a lot. So for his birthday this year, like a couple of friends and myself, like we all chipped in to get him an ASOS gift card, because ASOS
Right.
is amazing. You can get anything at all, like any style at all you're trying to try, you're probably gonna have it there. So he hasn't even used it, and his birthday was like 3 months ago. Hasn't used it at all, and he's just been whining about how, like, Preeti, you need to shop for me. You know, we need to do this together. Like, you need to help me see the site. You need to help me pick everything. And I'm like, okay lah, I guess it makes sense. And I can help you out, but I don't know how to help style men. I really don't. So,
I
yeah.
just like doing things with you. I just like family, make it a family thing.
Excuses. Yeah. So I have
So
to
what
set
are
aside a day
what are
to
the
help.
issues? What are the issues you're facing, Subhas, with the way that you dress? What? Let the editor help you lah.
Yes.
Since I'm here.
Exactly.
This I don't know. I feel like my style is really like I like simple pieces. I like very like stuff that are like casual, but you can just dress up with an accessory like a watch or a handkerchief, like, or socks. Like, you know, that's my dress up. I don't really go over the top because it's just not me. I'm very like, I need to be able to put this on in like 10-15 minutes, or else it's not happening.
Okay.
No, but I guess I just need to put more effort into my wardrobe, because like actually I have merch. I make merch, and the reason I make merch is so that I can wear my own stuff and I don't have to like decide. Yeah, so
That's really, really cute.
yeah, I guess I have to do more. I have to look at more style guides.
Well, you know, we are coming out with Bazaar Man with our revamp in August. So maybe we can help you there with some style advice.
Hi.
Thank you. That would be much appreciated.
Now, going back to style and going back to you, Preeti, like, you know, even though you talked about the girls that you were admire and all that color, I see you're wearing black. So so much for all the loud prints and so much for the
I know,
power
I wear
today.
so much black.
I'm gonna dip because my mom just came down. My mom just came
Okay.
home.
Yeah.
So
It's
Kenny,
great
so nice
chatting
that I
to
see
you.
you.
See you, Subhas.
Bye.
Bye.
Finally, it's just us. I'm kidding.
So tell me about your fashion choices. Like, you know, what do you like? You've talked about the people that inspire you, but like, you know, where do you go to find your style? How did you actually come to your style journey?
So I think when I started out, like, actually putting in effort when it comes to like clothing and style, I really went for comfort more. And I know that's like the last thing people want to hear, because people, when it comes to comfort, it doesn't necessarily mean stylish, of course. So I really went for comfort. I would love to wear like oversized tops, and most times I honestly would just wear leggings. And I know that is a fashion, like, no, but I really used to do that when I was younger. I did that a lot. Yeah, I think when I was 17, 18, that's when I started doing that quite a bit. And then eventually I realized, like, when I started shopping online on my own, I think that's when I started to explore and try things that I never thought I would wear. I never thought I could pull off. And like I've started to learn a lot more about what looks good on my body type as well. So, like, I mean, you see a lot of those guides online. They'll tell you if you have like a pear-shaped body, what do you wear, and stuff like that. So I never knew like what I actually like categorized under. But I think for my own self, I managed to just figure it out by just shopping on sites like ASOS, which obviously has free returns. So it makes my life easier, especially when you're plus size. You can buy things that are one size bigger, one size smaller, figure out what your actual size is online and return it for free. And then next time you shop, you already know your size. So that's what I did. And I, like, for myself, I figured out that I look really good in off-shoulder tops, which I never thought would be something that would look good on a plus size girl. But it looked really good on me. And I was always very insecure with showing my arms. So I avoided everything sleeveless, or if it was sleeveless, I had to have like a matching like outerwear to wear with it. So that's when I started looking at layering. You know, I started looking at like, okay, I don't have to stick to a black cardigan all the time. Maybe I can look at like something else, something that even has like shoulder pads, something cool. And I think the places that are my go-to shopping sites have always been like the trusted sites I go to all the time have always been ASOS and Fashion Nova. So I know of Fashion Nova because of Cardi B, Kim Kardashian. They're all like talking about Fashion Nova, and of course that made me curious enough to check it out. And it doesn't have like the returns aren't as convenient, but the styles are
Right.
insane. Like it's everything you see on a red carpet that would have like a knockoff version of it. But of course, I don't buy things that fancy because I don't really need. I don't have occasions to wear it to. But I think my go-to piece is a bodysuit. So I always look at bodysuits that are sometimes they can be like plunge neck. You know, sometimes their necks like this, like higher necks, or off-shoulder bodysuits as well. So I really love bodysuits because I mean, when you just look at it, it just looks like a top. But you can style it so well with skirt, denim skirt also. And when I'm going out Friday night, I'll wear it with black pants. And it usually looks really, really put together. And you can just mix and match your bodysuits with anything. So my go-to has always been bodysuits. Yeah. And I think that's probably the one item I have way too much of in my wardrobe. But yeah, I really love bodysuits and jumpsuits as well. Yeah.
Okay. Easy. Those are easy pieces to layer and put things on. So do you have advice as to, or do you have a certain kind of mantra when it comes to dressing for the camera when you're doing all your videos and stuff like that? Do you wear a certain palette, or do you wear a certain silhouette or look or print?
I think because the Pretty Please character is a lot to handle, I think I've always stuck to muted colors in my videos. There's nothing too loud, or I never wear prints that are too in your face because the character and the content is probably very in your face. So I definitely go towards black a lot. But I also think that because black is the most flattering color and I can match it with anything at all. So I definitely go to black pieces quite a lot. But sometimes in certain videos I would also wear a t-shirt that's saying like a statement or something that's like it's deliberate. Like last year I filmed a video. So it was a joke. I filmed a video for Labor Day. It was a Labor Day makeup tutorial, but nobody dresses up for Labor Day. So I said Labor Day in a sense where when you're in labor. So it was a tutorial for all the pregnant women out there. This is your Labor Day tutorial. So it was a tutorial to put on this look when you go and give birth. It was the most ridiculous video. And for that video, I wore a pink t-shirt that said, "Love don't pay the bills." So it was like, I'm talking about going to give birth and saying, "Love don't pay the bills." And yeah, so I have a lot of silly like graphic tees. There was this internet celebrity, and then I'll wear that video like doing the most silly things. So I definitely like to invest in a couple of like silly graphic tees because most times in my videos I don't have to like dress up, especially now in circuit breaker when we're filming at home. There is no reason to like look super fancy when I'm filming a video that's obviously me in my house. Yeah, so I have a couple of pieces in the wardrobe that are for special occasions. When I did my so I did an episode recently where I reacted to Lady Gaga's new album, and her whole album, the theme was like, it was pink, it was chromatica, the whole vibe, and her eyeshadow palette look, everyone who was doing reviews were doing like a very nice blue eye. So when I filmed my reaction video, I made sure to wear like the hottest pink, like neon pink, like dress that I had at home, and did a blue eyeshadow look. So I love like dressing up. I love like matching looks or doing anything that references something else. You know, I love pop culture references so much, and I love doing that. So I have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun dressing up for occasions like that. Yeah.
And let's play something which we set up a few weeks ago, which is our BAZAAR filter. So you can be a BAZAAR girl as well, a BAZAAR boy like me. And then we just have to look for that filter. I hope you've got it somewhere.
Let me scroll.
Yeah, this is mine. So I'm extra AF.
Yes, I got it.
Extra. What is yours?
Tapao and chill. That is my mood for the last 2 months. Tapao and chill. I love it.
This is fantastic. Thank you so much for being part of BAZAAR Talks today, Preeti. It's been wonderful chatting to you. And you know, I'm just leaving my filter on, You know, why not, right?
Extra AF.
I know. Make that my mantra. Say, you know, it's been great chatting to you. We learned so much about everything that you're doing, everything that your brother is doing. And it's been wonderful. So have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Preeti has been incredible. Her brother Subhas, you know, super funny as well. It's been a great session.
Thanks for having me. Have a great weekend.
See you. Okay, see you, my love. Bye.